Oh gosh, that looks way too funny. We're back again. Good morning and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is all about how to solve some common handstand problems that you might be having. So stick around until the end to hear all about the most common problems and how to solve them, because you probably might not have heard of some of these solutions. If you're new here, my name is Ellen Henry and I am a circus performer and handstand coach. It's my life, it's my passion, I love it. Hence why I have this channel and why I love helping people and coaching people how to handstand. The first problem that we are going to cover is balancing on your hands. So, this is probably one of the things that people struggle with the most when they are learning to handstand or improve their handstands, is trying to work out that balance on the hands. Because when we are trying to balance, that balance is pretty much one of the most important aspects to help keeping us up in our handstand. Now, my solution to this, to learning and fixing how to balance on your hands or how to balance better, is to actually become more aware of what is happening in the palms of our hands, because this is where the balance is happening. There's a couple other aspects that come into play, but our palms are the biggest thing that help us to balance. So, we want to make sure that we are spreading our hands out nice and wide. The more surface area we are covering with our hands, the better. We also want to make sure that we are gripping the ground as well. And then another aspect that comes into play is where our eyes are looking will also help us balance. So if we have our eyes closed, that's going to make it so much harder to balance. So we want to make sure that our eyes are open and that we are looking in between our hands. If we're looking too far forward, you're going to change the shape of your handstand, or if you're looking through to the wall, it's going to change your balance as well. And it's going to make it a lot harder. Now, the next thing that I recommend doing is trying some froggies. Being aware of this balance and trying to hold your froggy. Your froggy is a much easier drill because you are lower to the ground and you can practice those micro adjustments of trying to balance this. Don't mind my reenactment of someone or me before I had the arm strength to hold myself up in a handstand. I'm just trying to help demonstrate so that it can give you an idea of what that looks like. So this next problem, as you just saw, is when you don't have the strength in your arms, your shoulders, or your wrists to hold yourself upside down. Now, when you're going upside down, that's a lot of weight. Like, you are holding your whole body weight upside down through your shoulders, through your arms, through your wrists. So when you are starting to learn to handstand, this could be a really challenging problem for you, is gaining that strength and being able to hold yourself upside down. So what I do recommend is starting off with some body weight exercises. Some really easy ones like planks, side planks. You can even do these down on your elbow to not hurt your wrist. You can do really easy things like walking your hands out, walking them back in. Basically, we want to just start adding some of that body weight to our exercises and drills, and then we want to be able to progress that up to slightly harder drills. like A-frame push-ups or dive bombers. And then eventually you work them up to handstand drills. So progressing is the key with this. So you really want to make sure you start off with some easy exercises and slowly progress. If anything ever starts hurting, it usually means you need to slow down, reevaluate, and make sure you are being mindful and slowly progressing. So like you might work on those froggy drills, working up to slightly harder handstand drills like bunny hops. And there are so many handstand drills and exercises that you can do that range from beginner all the way up to intermediate. It's just about assessing where you're at and what you need in your handstand journey. The other thing that this weakness or not being strong enough to hold yourself upside down also comes into play is how strong your wrists are, because your wrists are it's a very delicate part of our body, and we want to make sure that we adjust it and progress as we go as well. I am so sorry for all the noises. The birds are having a field trip day, and I can't do anything about it. So once again, there's lots of wrist strengthening exercises that you can do. To give you an example of some, especially that are good for handstands, is little weighted lifts. Put a little video on the screen. And then we can progress to things like wrist push-ups, which we can progress them as well. And since we are on the topic of wrists, something else that can come into play with this kind of movement and handstands is discomfort. Now, this can be a pretty big problem if, like I said before, you progress too fast or you do lots of handstands way too quickly without letting your body adjust. Your wrists are pretty delicate. There's gonna be some amount of normal discomfort, that feeling of like, okay, I'm exerting my body, that like I'm putting some effort into that. It's like when you're doing a workout and you're like, yeah, this exercise is hard, like bicep curls. You might be like, wow, these are hard, but I can do them. But what's really important is that you pay attention to your body, because you want to be able to identify when it gets past this point, when something hurts or is a sharp pain. And also, once again, I do have a disclaimer down in my description box below, but I'm just going to reiterate, please consult someone if you are concerned, or when you are trying new exercises, if you are worried about how that will affect you. So it's really important that we are able to identify what is uncomfortable versus what is painful. And the way that we can avoid these injuries and stuff that becomes painful or at that point is we want to make sure that we are slowly progressing. We are giving our bodies enough time to rest in between drills, but also how often you are training. So if you have a day on, a day off, or if you're at the stage where you are doing shorter practices daily and having like a day or two off during that week, it's important that you develop your program in a way that suits your level and where you are at. If you are struggling with this kind of thing, I do offer private coaching, which is where I can help customize your handstand training program for the level of where you are at. I will leave the link down in the description box below if you are interested in that. Also, the final thing about wrists, to make sure that we are looking after them, is that we warm them up. So you're doing your stretching before each handstand session and making sure that they are warmed up enough and you're not rushing through your warm-up either. So I have a little announcement, and it is what this video topic is addressing, but in way more depth. So if you are struggling with your handstands and you find that you are hitting these kind of problems that I am talking about, and you're like, Ellen, awesome, great, you're giving me examples, but I need more. Like, I want exercises. I want specific sets and reps to do. I want like all of the drills that I can do to fix this problem. I have the guide, I have the Handstand Solution, the guide for you. So this video is essentially launching, me announcing that I have created this handstand PDF guide that is called the Handstand Solution, Troubleshooting Your Handstand Problems. So it addresses all of these things that I'm talking about in this video. Weak shoulders and arms and wrists, trouble balancing on your hands, trouble with your alignment and maybe that pesky banana back that is oh so common, your kick up, and maybe you're struggling with falling out of a handstand, and maybe that's a huge mental block and barrier for you. I discuss all about how to get past those kind of mental blocks and even those plateaus. There's lots of videos to accompany this guide that demonstrate all of the things that I'm talking about and the drills so that you can clearly understand the solutions that I'm talking about. I'm super excited to be launching this product. I will leave the link down in the description box below, and I hope you go and check it out and buy it if it seems super valuable for where you're at in your handstand journey. But without further ado, let's keep going with these common problems, and if you identify strongly with any of these, I highly recommend checking out the handstand guide. This is the biggest common problem that people have with their handstand, and it is their alignment or trying to get a straight handstand or the banana back, as we all most commonly see it. There are some variations of like different ways that this shows. It might not just be a banana back, and so it all comes down to your alignment, or in other words, the body cues that you are doing to achieve this alignment. So alignment, there's lots of different words I could use for this. It is that stacked handstand shape, so stacking those bones on top of each other, that makes the handstand way easier than if you weren't doing this. It also, makes it look good. So this alignment and body cues that you want to be doing in a handstand are what are going to help you to hold a really nice straight handstand. And you may be thinking like, Ellen, that's really hard to try and learn to do in a handstand. And I absolutely agree with you. That is so hard to try and focus on balancing, holding yourself upside down, and then trying to fix your shape. That's why I am a huge fan of these drills that I call activation drills. They are all about lying down on the floor and practicing those body cues that help you do your nice straight handstand down on the ground, where it's easy to be able to focus on trying to activate and do each of those body cues. Essentially, we are just trying to mimic what we are doing in a handstand, but down on the ground. That was a little example of what of those drills look like, but I have an entire video dedicated to these. I'm not going to try and explain it in this video, but this will also be covered in the guide as well, so you can go and check them out. So, the banana back. This is probably one of the most complex problems to fix. I am going to break this one down a little bit for you because it's difficult. I mean, look at this thing. It's like there's a lot going on. So the banana back is actually a combo of problems. Closed shoulders, looking forwards, back arch / chest and tummy are dropping, and then also your legs being arched over. To start off with our closed shoulder position, we want to focus on trying to open up our shoulders and work on our shoulder mobility, which means working on stretches and mobility drills like this one. they will help you to work on that shoulder mobility. Please excuse the construction sounds, it never ends. Next, that chest dropping, that core dropping as well, and arching. The best way to work on this is to work on those alignment drills that I talked about before. All of them will help you to think about that rounding of the back and engaging and pulling that core in. And finally, those legs and those hips, you want to tuck your pelvis under, and then that will also help you bring your legs over on top of yourself. Next up, we have your kick up. Now, this is mostly about trying to correct your technique and make sure that you are doing it correctly. There's a lot of things like not reaching your hands out that will affect your kick up, and then also having floppy legs when you kick up as well. So making sure in your kick up you are following that correct technique. In the guide, I will also talk about the correct way to do this and how to fix those pesky problems that might be floppy legs or not reaching your hands out far enough. In a similar vein, also falling out. This can be incredibly scary if you're falling on your back or you're falling into an arch shape. My favorite thing to recommend is going on grass when you're first starting, telling yourself, okay, I'm safe, there's grass around me, or putting pillows around you and being like I'm okay, like helping your brain to cope with the fact that you'll be safe if you fall out. But then not only that, but focusing on how to fall out correctly. So I'm a big fan of the cartwheel out, which looks like this. And it's an incredibly safe way to fall out because you aren't hurting yourself and you are able to land safely on the ground. Finally, the last thing that we are going to address in this video, I know that there's lots more problems that you can have with your handstands, is your flexibility. Now, your flexibility, you might be like, Ellen, how does that affect my handstand? Well, if we go back to that banana back, where I was saying you need to work on your shoulder mobility, that is a big component of your flexibility that's going to affect your handstand. So if you have really closed shoulders, this is going to really affect your ability to be able to get into that aligned straight handstand. So it's really important that you work on that shoulder mobility. Other aspects that come into play with our handstands is our hamstring flexibility. This is really important for our kick up because it means that we can get our hands down on the ground while also being able to kick up into our handstand. There are so many other components of flexibility that affect our handstand, but they are all in the guide, all with solution and stretches to help you to fix those things towards improving your handstands. So check that out down below. It's got lots of juicy, valuable content, and I really hope you enjoy it. If you do, buy it. With that, I hope you enjoyed this video and I hope you check out the handstand guide and you find it super valuable. We're going to ignore the noises. And as always, if you like this video, please give a like because it really supports my channel, and hit that subscribe button to see more videos just like this. And as always, if you have any comments or videos you'd like to see from me or feedback on any of the products and things that I have created, like this handstand guide, leave me them down in the comments box below. I really love hearing from you guys, and I'll leave a video here that will also help you on your handstand journey, so check that out. And I'll see you next time. Bye! This is how you warm up your shoulders now. Of course, there's another track. Oh, wait, no, it's Wednesday.